Wake up, filthy.
There are sounds that define an era, and then there are sounds that shatter it, forging something new in their wake. Right now, one of those disruptive signals emanates from an artist who treats chaos not as a disorder, but as a blueprint. Ken Carson. With his latest offering, More Chaos, he's not just dropping tracks, he's laying down the next layer of a world he's been meticulously constructing. But what is this world, and who is its architect? Every architect begins with influences, but Ken Carson's aren't just names, they're raw materials. The swagger of Atlanta's trap godfathers, yes, but also the rebellious spirit of digital anonymity, the abrasive textures of industrial soundscapes, the almost synthetic sheen of hyperpop. He emerged not just from a city, but from the boundless, often lawless frontier of the internet, where his early sounds began to take shape. Less songs, more experiments. This wasn't about fitting in. It was about excavating a sound that didn't exist yet. A frequency for the disaffected, the energetic, the perpetually online. Early setbacks were just system reboots, pushing the code towards this inevitable output. True architects need a space to build. For Ken Carson, that space became Opium. More than a label, it's a collective, a design philosophy, a shadowy incubator for a new vanguard. Here, under the wing of Playboi Carti, Carson's blueprint truly began to manifest. Project X, then X. These weren't just albums, they were load-bearing structures. The raw energy refined, the rage sound codified. A visceral, almost overwhelming wave of distorted bass, crystalline synths, and Ken's hypnotic, often detached delivery. He was building a cathedral of noise, and the youth were flocking to it. But what exactly is Ken building? To understand the architecture, we need to examine the methodology. Listen closely to any Ken Carson track. Beneath the surface chaos lies meticulous construction. Take the bass lines. They don't just hit, they vibrate through your ribcage. Ken doesn't use 808s like traditional trap. He weaponizes them, turning them into seismic events. The synths aren't melodies, they're atmospheric pressure, and his vocals, they exist in the space between human and machine, often processed to the point where emotion becomes texture. This is purposeful disorientation. Where most artists guide you through a song, Ken drops you into an environment and expects you to find your own way. It's not passive listening, it's active survival. The listener becomes a part of the architecture, their adrenaline response literally completing the circuit. Architecture isn't just about the structure, it's about how people move through and inhabit the space. Ken understood something crucial about his generation. They don't just want to hear the music, they want to feel it. Physically, viscerally, almost violently. Watch a Ken Carson crowd. This isn't traditional concert behavior. These aren't fans, they're participants in a collective ritual. The music creates a feedback loop. The more chaotic the sound, the more physical the response, which feeds back into the energy of the performance. Ken didn't make songs, he engineered experiences that turn individuals into a single, pulsing organism. And it spread, not through radio or traditional gatekeepers, but through the same digital networks that birthed it. Bedroom producers started copying the distortion patterns. Fashion kids adopted the dark, avant-garde aesthetic. The methodology became viral because it was designed to be, each song a compressed file of pure energy, ready to unpack in any environment. True architects don't just build one structure, they develop their craft across multiple projects. Watch Ken's evolution from Project X through X and into a great chaos. Each release isn't just new songs, it's a new level of architectural sophistication. A great chaos revealed the master plan. This wasn't rage for rage's sake anymore, this was controlled chaos, engineered turbulence. Ken had learned to build tension, not just through volume and distortion, but through space, silence, and strategic restraint. He was becoming less punk rock destroyer, more electronic music composer. Critics who dismissed him as just noise missed the point entirely. This was a sophisticated sound design masquerading as a reckless abandon. Every harsh synth was placed with surgical precision. Every vocal effect served a specific emotional function. Ken wasn't just making tracks, he was building emotional architecture. To understand where Ken is heading, we need to understand his relationship with chaos itself. For most artists, chaos is something to be overcome, organized, tamed. For Ken, chaos is the material. Think about it. In a world oversaturated with perfect, algorithmic, focus-grouped music, what breaks through? What makes you feel something? Ken realized that in an era of infinite content, only the truly disruptive survives. Chaos isn't the enemy of order, it's a precondition for new kinds of order. Ken's generation exists in constant informational chaos, infinite feeds, endless stimulation, perpetual crisis. Traditional music, with its predictable structures and comfortable emotions, can't compete. Ken's chaos is paradoxically calming because it matches the frequency of modern life. It doesn't pretend everything is fine, it builds cathedrals from the ruins. Which brings us to more chaos, not just his latest album, but his clearest statement of architectural intent. If previous projects were experiments, this is the blueprint made manifest. Listen to Trap Jump, Kryptonite, Thanks. The chaos is still there, but it's more precise, more purposeful. Ken has learned to modulate intensity like a master electrician. He knows exactly when to surge and when to dim. The architecture has reached a new level of sophistication. This isn't just artistic growth, it's the maturation of an entire environment. Ken is no longer just participating in the culture, he's actively designing its next phase. More Chaos is both summary and prophecy, showing where the rage movement has been and where it's heading. Ken's architectural influence extends far beyond his own discography. Trace the DNA of his sound through current hip-hop, electronic music, even pop, the distorted bass lines, the processed vocals, the embrace of controlled chaos. It's everywhere. But more importantly, he's changed how an entire generation relates to music consumption. The old model, passive listening, single songs, radio-friendly structures, can't contain what Ken has unleashed. His architecture demands full immersion, communal experience, physical response. Streaming platforms, concert venues, even social media algorithms have had to adapt to accommodate the kind of experience Ken creates. He didn't just change music, he changed the infrastructure around music. So what has Ken Carson actually built? On the surface, it's albums, tracks, a successful music career. But look deeper. He's constructed an entirely new relationship between artist and audience, between order and chaos, between tradition and innovation. He's proven that in an age of algorithmic predictability, the truly disruptive still finds its audience. That the next generation doesn't want to be comforted by their music. They want to be challenged, activated, transformed. The architects who matter don't just build for today, they create foundations for tomorrow's builders. Ken's influence is already spreading through bedrooms and basements, through DAWs and dream sequences, as a new generation of sonic architects discovers that chaos, when properly understood, is just another word for infinite possibility.